Can you hear me, Liz?
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me all right? Yes, I can.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Great.
Yes.
All right.
Can you guys hear us? Great. Put some hearts if you can hear us. Welcome to our live today. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a conversation with Liz. We're going to learn some things, and it's going to be amazing. Well, just give me 1 second. My name is Soul. Welcome to my IG Live. Today we'll be joined by Liz from Legal Services to talk about gender marker and name changes. And as soon as I pull my file back up, we'll be ready. So welcome, Liz. I'm so excited
Hey,
to have this conversation with you.
thank you. I'm really excited to do this as well and engage with my communities.
So we'll just go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Soul. I am one of the social media influencers for community health at Whitman-Walker and also an art educator for the New Cultural Center, The Corner. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And today we're just going to continue these series of outreach sessions through social media. As during the past few months, Whitman-Walker Health's Community Health Department has expanded its outreach efforts to the social media platform. So we're covering various topics about HIV and STI, sexual health practices, access to care, social determinants of health, and general public health interventions. So the next series is, and this series is going to focus on the current pandemic, COVID-19, and ways to manage your sexual, personal, and mental health. Um, you want to introduce yourself, Liz?
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Liz Punolini, and I'm an Equal Justice Works Fellow and one of the attorneys in Whitman Walker's Legal Services Department. I use they, them pronouns, and I also want to share with everyone that I identify as trans and non-binary, and I've actually gone through the DC name change process twice. So I absolutely know firsthand how important and vital it is for people to have accurate identity documents that accurately reflect who they are. So it's really great and very meaningful to me to have this opportunity to talk with everybody about the name and gender change processes at the COVID-19 situation.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about how folks can get in touch with the public benefits and insurance navigation and legal services at Women Walker Health during, this pandemic with COVID-19.
Yes, so we are absolutely still here to help with people or help people out. But over the past couple of months, we have shifted to remote work. So if you want to reach out to us, you can absolutely do so. Just give us a call or an email, and our contact information should get posted in the comments. I also want to assure everybody that we are still helping out with all the same things that we've always worked on for our clients. And this includes concerns over public benefits, any issues that you might have with discrimination based on your sexual orientation, gender identity, or even your health status. We also do unemployment and sick leave. We are helping with or help people with accessing gender affirming care and with insurance appeals for gender affirming care. We also help out with estate planning, and that includes things like powers of attorneys or simple wills. And those are documents that you can use to make sure that your wishes are still respected, even if you're not able to make those decisions yourself. Lastly, we also do immigration work. And again, these are things that we've always helped people with, and we still are. Our contact information should be below in the comments, and it's also on our website, so always feel free to reach out to us.
Yes, I will post and pin the bilingual legal services phone number and email. But while I'm doing that, do you mind telling us a little bit about what the process of changing your name and your gender marker on your identity documents is like?
Sure thing. So the first thing to know is that changing your name and changing your gender marker on identity documents These are actually two separate processes. So what this means in practical terms is that you can change just the name, you can change just the gender marker, or you can change both at the same time. However, you just need to get different documents to do those. For changing your name, you need to get something called a court order, and for updating the gender marker on your documents, generally you will need a letter or a form that's signed by your healthcare provider. And the good news about licenses and IDs is that in the DC metro area, most people can also self-select their gender marker and choose a non-binary option. When I say self-select, what I mean is that you can choose your gender marker as part of the application process without needing to provide any medical documentation. You just go in and choose the gender marker that feels right for you. And we are still helping people with navigating both the name and gender change processes.
So you mentioned that you might need a court order for, sorry, you mentioned that you might need a court order to change a person's name. What does that process look like?
So all name changes start off with a petition, and that's something that you file with the local court where you live. And a petition is essentially an application that you're submitting to a court where you are formally asking them to change your name. Now, DC, Maryland, and Virginia all have their own processes for name changes, and they handle these cases differently. There are different forms and petitions that residents need to use, and there are different requirements that you have to fulfill before a judge can approve your name change. But we do help out with navigating those forms and all of those requirements, so feel free to connect with us on that. Now, after your name change is approved by a judge, you'll get that court order that I mentioned, and this is an amazing document to have. It's one of the most meaningful documents I've ever gotten because it is the official thing that officially declares your chosen name is your legal name, and you can now use that, your chosen name, wherever you want and in all facets of your life. It's also the document that you're going to use to change the name on all of your identity documents, personal records, or other accounts. And this includes things like your social security records, state IDs, birth certificates, passports, or even things like bank accounts, health insurance records, medical records, educational records, anything like that. If it has your legal name, the court order can change it.
So, do you also need a court order to change your gender marker?
That is a really good question that we get, and the answer is not necessarily. As we were talking about, for most identity documents, you can update those with some kind of administrative process, and that generally involves some kind of a form as opposed to a court order. For federal agencies like Social Security, your or immigration offices, or the passport agency, they all accept a letter that's signed by your medical provider in order to update your gender marker. If you are a patient with Whitman-Walker Health, you can connect with us and we will work with you and your provider to get the documents that you need. But if you're not a Whitman-Walker patient, you can still reach out and we can share template or sample letters that you can use and give you guidance about approaching your provider and getting and navigating those processes. But in general, you're only going to need a gender change court order if your birth state requires it to update your birth certificate. Locally, Virginia is the only state that requires that, but I have some really good news coming out of Virginia. And starting September 1st of this year, you'll be able to change your Virginia birth certificate with a simple form signed by a medical provider. And that's going to be the same thing in DC and Maryland as well. You just need a form.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you to everybody who's joining. And if you just joined, feel free to ask any questions, and we will try to answer them as best as possible. A touch of Tuye just asked, even if I'm not a patient, Whitman-Walker Health can help me.
Absolutely. Even if you're not a patient, you can still access all of our legal services. You just need to give us a call.
And just for clarification, is it just DC residents that can call Whitman-Walker Health?
Nope. You can, no matter where you live, you can reach out to us and we'll do everything that we can to help you out.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, what about to update a state ID or driver's license? Do you need a court order or a letter from a doctor?
For something like a photo ID or a driver's license, it also depends on where you live. But like we were talking about earlier, in DC and Maryland, you can self-select the gender marker on your identification documents, and you can also choose a non-binary marker. To self-select means that you just choose the gender marker that you want and the one that feels right for you as part of the application process. Currently, Virginia does require a form to make these updates, but again, really good news coming out of Virginia. Starting on July 1st of this year, you'll also be able to self-select the gender marker and you'll also get that non-binary option. So the process for updating a driver's license or an ID will be the same across all three jurisdictions.
Okay, shout out to Virginia for their progression. We're always here and happy to see it. So what does the name and gender marker change process look like from start to finish? Say I wanted to update my name and my gender marker, what are the steps that I would need to take?
So it still depends on where you live because courts have different requirements and state agencies also have their own separate requirements. The specific guidance that I would give does depend on that. But if you are interested in doing these things, definitely reach out to us and we'll talk more about your personal circumstances and what's going on and give you advice tailored to your specific situation. Now, most folks are able to navigate these processes on their own, and we do have some really good resource guides for folks that cover the name and gender change processes in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. They talk about every single step and go through it bit by bit. These guides are available on our website, and the links should also get posted in the comments. So I really suggest that you take a look at these. And if you still have questions or still need some help with it, reach out to us and we'll take care of you as best we can.
Yeah.
Uh, now, or go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now, some of these processes might be impacted by COVID-19, so definitely please keep that in mind, but reach out to us for assistance or just questions about what's going on. We are staying on top of all of these different court and agency updates. But to give you a general big picture overview, the first step that you're going to take is to petition your local court for a name change. You'll need to file the necessary documents and meet all of the court's requirements. And then once your name change is granted, you should get that court order that we were talking about. The court will give you something called a certified copy. And when I say certified, what that means is that it will have a raised seal on it. And we also recommend that people get multiple copies because federal and state agencies will generally want to see that original certified copy. Once you get all of that taken care of, we suggest getting started on those medical documents we were talking about. You should reach out to your healthcare provider to get any of the letters or the forms that you need. And once you have all of those things, it's time to get started on updating the name and gender marker on all of your ID documents.
Amazing. So does it matter what agency I update first?
Yes, because of the Real ID law, you're not able to update the name on your driver's license until you update the name on your social security record. So we recommend going to your local social security office first, and apply for a new card with your name with your new name, and make sure that you're also updating the gender marker in your social security record at the same time. Once you do have your new Social Security card, you're going to take that and your name change court order to your local DMV or MVA, and get started on applying for a new license. Again, for DC and Maryland residents, you can self-select the gender marker, so no medical documentation is needed for a license or ID. And for Virginia, they still need a form, but starting July, you don't need medical documentation anymore, and you can self-select the gender there as well and get your non-binary marker if you would like. If you would like. Um, So then once you've updated your Social Security record and your ID, you can update the rest of your accounts, documents, or records in any order that you would like. And so those things include your birth certificate, passport if you have it, immigration documents if you have those, your insurance, medical records, bank accounts, anything else.
So, are there any special considerations about those processes for immigrants?
Yes, there are, and thank you so much for asking about that. Every foreign-born client who comes to us for name and gender change services will receive what is essentially a mini immigration consultation. During this mini consultation, we would talk to you about your personal circumstances and learn more about your situation. So again, we can give you advice that's tailored to you. During this mini consultation, we assess a person's or any immigration risk or how a name and gender change might affect your immigration case strategy. So, with that said, we really do urge foreign-born persons to consult with an immigration attorney before you file for a name change because there may be some risks or it may even change your eligibility for certain kinds of immigration relief. So it really is crucial to talk to an immigration attorney, understand what's going on, and how a name or gender change will affect you personally. As far as updating your immigration documents, it's important to note that immigration agencies like USCIS will accept a name change court order to change the name. And for a gender marker, all you need is a simple letter signed by your medical provider. The last thing that I want to mention about immigration specific considerations is that unfortunately most foreign countries will not accept United States documents to change something like a birth certificate. So if you are interested in doing something like that, you would have to refer to the laws in your country of origin, but like I said, you can update all of your United States documents and all of your immigration documents.
Amazing. So, you shared a lot of really amazing information about these processes and how we can go about doing these things. With COVID, are these processes still the same?
Some are still the same, some have changed, and a few things are temporarily on hold because of COVID-19. So it really depends on where you live and what you're trying to update. To give you an example, Maryland and Virginia courts actually allow residents to file petitions by mail, and they're still accepting name change applications. Virginia, again, the best news comes out of Virginia because they are actually deciding mailed in name change applications. So if you're a resident there, you can submit an application and you should even be able to receive a decision. Now, on the other hand, Maryland courts are also accepting new name change applications, but unfortunately, the courts are currently closed and they're not actually deciding them. However, even though they're not deciding anything, we still really recommend that people file an application with the court because it essentially secures your place in line and puts you in the queue to receive a decision once the courts do open back up. Currently, Maryland courts are closed through June 5th, but hopefully starting next month you'll be able to, or the courts will reopen and they'll start making progress on name change applications. For DC, unfortunately, DC Superior Court is closed right now, so they're not accepting name change applications. We are advocating for a solution on that, but I also want to let or make sure people know, if you haven't seen the news, Mayor Bowser did extend the stay-at-home order until June 8th. But we do hope that after that point, DC courts will reopen and you'll be able to get your application filed. However, regardless of where you live, you can always reach out to us. And like I said, we're staying on top of all of these different updates. And so we can follow up with you and keep you updated if we do learn of new ways to file. To give you another example, The DMVs and MVAs are currently not offering in-person services, so practically, unfortunately, this means that folks cannot currently update the name and gender on their licenses or IDs. However, we are still counseling people on that process, and we will work with you to make sure that you're ready to apply for a new license once the DMVs and MVAs open back up again. But regardless of all that, the main takeaway that I want to leave people with is that no matter what the courts and agencies are doing right now, we are counseling people, we are offering advice, and we are helping clients prepare the documents that they need so that they can get started. And if you have an urgent case, let us know, and we will do what we can to brainstorm creative solutions to see if we can get things taken care of for you.
Thank you so much, Liz. This was awesome, very important information. It was very informative, and it definitely got me thinking about seriously changing my legal name to Soul. So it's nice to know that I have access to an institution that's working around the clock to, like, make sure people are comfortable with the way that they're represented and are aiding and counseling and preparing people to do that. So thank you so much, Liz, for being here and talking to us. Is there anything else you would like the people to know?
Well, I just want to thank you again so much for having me today. And seriously, if you're interested in changing your name, let me know. We'll get the paperwork started. But I hope that this has been a really helpful conversation for everybody and that people have a better understanding of what's going on in the world of name and gender change updates. Um, if you need help, the Whitman-Walker Health Legal Services team is still here to support you and help out as best we can, not just with the name and gender change updates, but with so many different legal issues. So if you, hopefully you're not having problems, but if you are encountering some issues or you have been impacted by the COVID-19 health pandemic, let us know and we'll see what we can do to help you. We're always trying to find new solutions and other ways to overcome these obstacles presented by COVID-19. So if you have other questions, let us know. You can type them in the comments and we'll try to address them if we can. But if we missed any of your questions or you want more advice or information, or if you want to get started on the process, reach out to us and give us a call or email, and we'll work with you as best we can to help out. So again, our legal services contact info is pinned in the comment section. So just let us know.
Yes. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves and staying safe, washing your hands, and continuing to social distance. Make sure you're following Whitman Walker at Whitman Walker. That's WHITMANWALKER. And Real Talk DC, which is our youth services team, at Real Talk DC underscore REALTALK DC underscore. And you guys might as well just go ahead and start following the Corner DC. That is at the Corner DC, all spelled the way you should spell it. You know what I mean? Thank y'all so much, and I'll talk to you later, Liz.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, everybody.